Hi, I want to talk to you today about healing losses. Why should we heal our losses, right? You may say, well, I've had a bunch of losses in my past, but I don't think about them anymore. They're gone, they're in the past. Well, think again, because most likely, as most of us, you probably haven't completely healed all your losses. And losses, or the emotional pain of losses, I should say, weighs heavy on our soul. And it can, drop us vibrationally. It can bog us down energetically. I just recently healed a loss with a client. There was somebody she lost 19 years ago. And it turned out that it happened around Easter, and with Easter coming up, she was really starting to feel the sadness, the grief, and all that stuff around the holidays. And holidays can be a tough one for people because of losses, because they're reminders of the people we don't have around us anymore, that they're gone. And so when we spend holidays with them, the holidays become reminders of our losses. And it can really dampen things for us. So, especially if you had multiple losses in your life, what happens with losses is that the emotional pain of them acts as cumulative interest, and it kind of tends to all come crashing down at you at once when you experience the next loss. And so, by the time you get to your fourth, fifth loss, it may feel like 10 trucks ran over you, okay? And it physically can make you ill. It can, again, drop you vibrationally and so forth. And there's no need for that. You can heal your losses. I have a couple of events coming up that I'll be talking at the end about, specifically to heal your losses. It's a very reasonable amount, investment in yourself and a little bit of time, and you can actually be rid of that sadness, that grief, the emotional pain that keeps you down energetically. Just to kind of help you understand what it means when I say drop you down vibrationally. The low vibration energies are things like fear, apathy, depression, anger, hate, hopelessness, doubt. Those are all your low vibration energies. And quite frankly, life becomes harder to live in the low vibration energies. Everything seems more difficult. We don't accomplish as much. We're dragging more, etc. Whereas in the high vibration energies, our spirit is more lifted, and we experience things like peace, joy, love, hope in the high vibrations. And we experience life with more ease and grace, if you will, in the high vibrations. And it's a much better way of living. And so you want to be in the higher vibrations. Anyway, as I said, most of us haven't completely or fully digested our losses, even if we healed some of it. There's still that leftover pain in there, what I call in an unresolved experience, and so your energy is tied up in it. It can drop you down vibrationally, it can have an impact on you, on your next challenge or loss, etc. I had, for example, a pleasure to speak to a Navy SEAL many years ago about healing, and he asked me this profound question. He said, well, because as a Navy SEAL they teach them, I guess, how not to feel pain, and if he didn't feel pain in the moment, if there is any pain stored in his subconscious mind. And I said, of course there is, especially if you didn't feel it in the moment, because us feeling pain in the moment actually helps us process our pain. In other words, it helps us heal it. As we're processing it, through feeling it, we're actually healing it. And so if we haven't felt any of it, then none of it is healed. So it's all of it is there in your subconscious field or your spiritual field. It's all hanging out on your soul as pain. And to prove my point, I actually gave him a demonstration, if you will. And in his subconscious mind, I asked him to go back in a light meditative state to a loss that he'd experienced in his life. And he went back into his childhood when I think it was his father that killed his dog or something like that, where he experienced the loss of a pet. And he started crying like a baby. And he was so embarrassed by it. I remember he was so embarrassed and so overwhelmed. He said to me, you know, in 20 years of being married, I have never cried in front of my wife, much less a stranger. I'm a Navy SEAL, or an ex-Navy SEAL. I learned not to feel this stuff, and here I am crying in front of you. And I said, well, it just goes to show that the emotion is still there after all this time, and you haven't healed it. So anyway, you'd be surprised at the amount of emotion that's stuck in our unresolved experiences that keeps us actually vibrationally down. So anyway, if you have had multiple losses in your life, especially significant ones, I would highly recommend that you take me up on my offer and heal them during these couple of upcoming healing events, or you can have a private session with me as well if none of those work out. But it can do wonders for you. It's much healthier for your soul and your body not to carry that kind of emotional pain. It can, help you offload that load, or unload that load, and or lighten your load, I should say. And it can lift your spirit. It can raise you vibrationally. It can strengthen you emotionally. It can help you be more freely who you are, because sometimes we're inhibited by, when we experience losses and we're afraid of losing people in our lives. Perhaps you're not, saying the things you would be saying otherwise, or perhaps you're not as truthful with the person because you're afraid of losing them. So in other words, we can do things out of fear. And so then we get into other unhealthy situations and so forth. So it can basically lighten your load and help you be more of who you are, more freely, and raise you vibrationally, all those good things. So I would really highly recommend that you heal your losses. The upcoming events that I have are basically, one is a webinar coming up this coming Saturday, March 11th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Mountain Standard Time. So from anywhere in the United States, you can log into that webinar and with me and experience a healing event, experience a healing of your losses. I would highly recommend that. You will be able to feel the shift, energetic shift, right then and there in the healing event. It's $100 per person. It's an insignificant amount for what you're going to get. And there is also another healing event coming up in person if you're local. It's going to be held in Lakewood, Colorado on Saturday, March 25th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can register for either one of those events on my website at thespiritualhealer.info, and then click on the tab events and you'll find it under events, and there's more detail there. There's all information about registration and so forth. And registration requires payment, and it is required that you pre-register for the event, so we know that you're going to be there. So anyway, I have also a very interesting offer for you today. If you bring a friend with you, in other words, your friend registers with you too, you will get $25 off on your event registration. So basically, you can either split that with your friend or not if you'd like, but you basically can save $25 on your registration by bringing a friend. So anyway, I hope all this makes sense, and I hope you will take advantage of these two events and heal your losses and help raise your vibration in the world so that you can be more and do more. And I wish you a wonderful day. Namaste.